Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It's the Friday news dump. We're going to drop down all the news that's been happening this week right before the weekend so we can forget all about all of it again. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already subscribed so that you can get notified when we go live / when we post a video. Let's go ahead and look at our headlines. Today on Before Coffee, France bans extreme right and radical Islamic groups ahead of polarizing election.
And we have a Russian satellite that is now endangering the space station.
European Union leaders agree on top officials who will be the face of the world's largest trading bloc.
And the NFL has to pay an antitrust suit in Sunday ticket case.
A hot and sweaty start. What we've learned arriving at Glastonbury 2024 from Euronews Culture.
And it's June 28th, which is National Insurance Awareness Day. Ooh, there's something that you're always got to be aware of. Yep. On June 28th, 2024 on Before Coffee.
What date is it again?
June 28th, 2024. I said it twice, not 3 times.
All right, just to confirm, it is June 28th. Let's go and just keep teasing you about it. Here on Friday, I repeat myself too. Let's start with our first story coming out of France. Now, they're having an election, the UK is having an election, and the EU just had their election, and the US is having an election. Elections everywhere around. Everyone's having elections. And France's government decided on Wednesday, June 26th, that they are ordering the dissolution of multiple extreme right and radical Muslim groups. I just realized that music is still in the background. 4 days before the first round of high-stakes legislative elections that may see a surge in support for political extremes. Snap's national elections, called by pro-business moderate President Emmanuel Macron, have plunged the country into a hasty and disorderly electoral race in which hate speech is becoming a growing concern. Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin announced on the 26th of June that the government ordered the shutdown of several groups peddling extremist hatred. A series of decrees announcing the shutdown outlined investigations into the groups and said they posed risk of violence. The groups affected include GUD, known for violence and anti-Semitism. Its members have supported the far-right political leader Marine Le Pen in the past. Le Pen's National Rally Party is leading all polls ahead of the two-round elections, June 30th and July 7th, while Macron's centrist alliance is lagging far behind. I mean, they've literally done nothing to make them look good. Last year, they had the whole problems with increasing the pension age. There was that kid who was killed by police officers for being a 7th generation Algerian. Like, when are you French? When are you French, right? There's a lot of things that have happened in France recently. Of course, France is always protesting, but those are the two things I remember that have not shed a great light on Macron. So his party is obviously going to suffer from that. However, the outcome remains highly uncertain due to the complex two-stage voting system and potential political alliances. This is not the first time the French government has moved to dissolve groups it believes infringe on security and human rights. But the pre-election timing of Wednesday's or June 26th announcement appeared to send a clear message about extremism. Another targeted group called Les Remparts is accused of inciting hate, discrimination, and violence towards foreigners and non-white people, according to Interior Ministry decrees reviewed by the Associated Press. Some members, a decree said, wear a jacket bearing the inscription White Division, and the group has offered self-defense trainings. The ministry cites a 2023 attack in which dozens of hooded far-right militants armed with iron bars attacked a civil society group at a conference about Palestinians. Some of the attackers had ties with Les Remparts, the decree said. Another Korea-targeted group called Jonas Party, which is said to claim to support France's Muslim community, but instead promotes violence, hate, and discrimination towards non-Muslims, women, and of course, LGBTQ+ people. Anti-Semitic and anti-Muslim discourse has also surfaced in the campaign. Activist groups SOS Racisme announced on the 26th of June it filed a lawsuit seeking to stop the spread of widely shared video that mocks people of African origin and tells them to go home. I hate people. The lawsuit is seeking charges of provocation of racial hatred against the video's creators. Noting similar videos that have appeared in Germany, the group said these expressions of unbridled racism reflect the climate of the freeing up of racist speech, fed by the wording scores of the far-right in recent elections around Europe. Facing the prospect that France could elect its first far-right government since the Nazi occupation during World War II, other parties have been scrambling to form alliances and field candidates. The elections were called by Macron earlier this month after his party suffered a crushing defeat in the European Parliament election. I get it, but it's not really an election year for you, so why are you pulling a snap election? It seems very irresponsible, knowing that there's a rise in far right, to have to run a snap election right now. But Macron is really just nosedives as a politician in my eyes, so I guess I'm not surprised. In a TV debate Tuesday night, young and fast-rising National Rally President Jordan Bardella renewed his proposal to abolish free healthcare for foreigners and toughen regulations around acquiring French nationality. I really hope they don't do that in the Netherlands because it's going to be tough for me. The proposal to prevent dual citizens from accessing certain strategic state jobs in particular attracted the ire of Prime Minister Gabriel Attal, who said it revealed the true objectives of a party that has long been tied to xenophobia and racism. The message you're sending is that when we are dual citizens, we are half citizens. We are not real French people, Attal said. Well, it doesn't matter if your skin's brown, you're also not real French people, according to some people in France, even if you've never ever touched another country but France and you only speak French, you're still not French enough. Attal suggested the real targets of the measure are not dual citizens with high-level positions, when he said Bardella's party had a Franco-Russia representative in the European Parliament. Bardella has softened many of the party's hard-line positions and was put on the spot during the debate over another key issue, the age of retirement, which Macron raised last year from 62 to 64, prompting months of protests that weakened his government. The National Rally backs the idea of setting back the retirement age to 62, but Bardella said 42 years of work would be needed for entitlement to a full pension, de facto raising the retirement age for those who started working later in their 20s. Eric Bompard of the Friends Unbowed Party, part of the new left-wing coalition, also came after Bardella's economic program and his proposal to lift taxes for people under 30. Bompard said the National Rally's program would contribute to making the rich richer, the expense of the poorest 30% share of the population, while Attal accused the 28-year-old of Bardella of personal benefiting from the measure. Why would a 30-year-old laborer pay taxes while a 29-year-old consultant or trader would stop paying? Attal asked. So this was an article by Associated Press by Diane Jeanette, Angela Charton, and Sylvie Colbet in Paris, who also contributed to this report. It's getting heated up in France, as I'm sure it's getting heated up everywhere else.
Well, this summer.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, I got your message.
Did you, start that? Don't start it. Start it at 2:40.
Okay.
At the 2:40 mark. Okay. Because it's 4 minutes long. Although we could still do 4 minutes of that, I guess. I don't know.
2:40 it is.
All right. In space news, this is from AlJazeera.com. Things just get buried, whether over cover or debate that doesn't really matter because it took place in June and nobody's ever going to remember it. So I had to dig for this story, but it's kind of a big story. ISS, it's from AlJazeera.com. ISS astronauts take cover as defunct Russian satellite shatters. A defunct Russian satellite broke up to nearly 200 pieces of debris, forcing astronauts on the International Space Station, the ISS, to take shelter for about an hour. 100 pieces of trackable debris from the satellite, which was declared dead by Russia in 2022, reporting that the incident presented no immediate threats. Oh, okay. What does immediate mean? Anyway, don't know. That's a pretty.
I guess it doesn't affect anybody in space. It just affects a giant explosion in space.
Yeah, until it hits something else and breaks that up into small pieces too. By Thursday afternoon, U.S. space tracking firm Leo Labs reported that its radars had detected at least 180 pieces. It seems like it's getting bigger in its debris field. Due to the low orbit of this debris cloud, we estimate it'll be weeks to months before the hazard has passed, it said. So it's going to take a while for all that stuff to degrade in orbit and fall to Earth and maybe somebody's head. I don't know. There's always that chance.
Well, it might Russian all burn space up in atmosphere, too.
Yeah, they could reassemble into some weird space mutant and just attack us. That could
Optimus Prime is going to come down? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
The Transformers
from the sky. Yeah, because the Jewish space lasers that Marjorie Taylor Greene was talking about are finally coming to get us. Right. The Jewish space lasers and the Transformers from the sky.
And the 5Gs are going to turn us all gay or whatever, yeah.
The space mutants are coming for us. Go get in your bunker now. Russian space agency Roscosmos decommissioned Resurs-P1 over onboard equipment failures in 2021. It did not respond to a request for comment or public knowledge at event or publicly acknowledge the event on its social media challenge. So Russia trying to pretend this didn't happen. Yeah, okay. Nothing to see here. 180 things of debris just
things are always falling in the sky. You can't say we did this. Well, North Korea is the one putting trash into. So maybe it was North Korea just dropping trash.
Yeah, it was more trash balloons. They're gonna mutate along with that thing. NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams boarded their Starliner spacecraft, the Boeing-built capsule that has been docked since June 6th, in its first crewed test mission on the station. 3 of the other U.S. astronauts and a Russian cosmonaut went into SpaceX's Crew Dragon capsule that flew them to the station in March. The 6th U.S. astronaut joined the 2 other Russian cosmonauts in the Russian Soyuz capsule that had ferried them there in September last year. Large debris generated in events in orbit are rare, but of increasing concern as space becomes crowded with satellite networks vital to everyday life on Earth, from broadband internet and communications to basic navigation services. So there you go. Let's see. There's more to it. Okay, there's more to it. In 2021, Russia struck one of its defunct satellites in orbit with a ground-based anti-satellite missile launched from its Plesetsk rocket site. The blast, testing a weapon system ahead of Russia's 2022 invasion of Ukraine, created thousands of pieces of orbital debris. There were no immediate indication for space or maritime alerts that Russia had launched a missile to strike the Resurs-P1 satellite, said Jonathan McDowell, a space tracker, and a Harvard astronomer. I found it hard to believe they would use such a... That's a new TV series right there, I'm telling you. Space Tracker. I want to star in it too. And I want to change my name to Dirk Montgomery.
Montgomery.
Dirk Montgomery is Space Tracker. I find it hard to believe they would use such a big satellite as an ASAT target, McDowell said. He and other analysts speculated the breakup could be more likely have been caused by a problem with the satellite, such as leftover fuel on board, causing an explosion. With some 250,000, I exaggerated, with some 25,000 pieces of debris bigger than 4 inches in space, experts worry about the prospect of a Kessler effect, a phenomenon in which the satellite collisions with debris can create a cascading field of more hazardous junk and exponentially increase crash risks. And you have that old movie where satellites are just falling out of the sky. It really wasn't that old. It was only a few years ago. Interstellar? Is that the one? Interstellar,
Gravity.
that was the one.
It was Gravity.
No, Interstellar, that was a movie?
The one where like she's in space and then a bunch of stuff crashes into the space station and then she's stuck in space with George Clooney.
Oh yeah, that one too.
That was Gravity.
Right.
Yeah, that was Gravity.
No, I was thinking about the more futuristic one where all of Earth is in dystopia, but the space junk is over.
With
knocked all the satellites out. That was
with
Matthew McConaughey.
Oh yeah, that's Interstellar.
Matthew McConaughey. Yeah. That's Interstellar. I was thinking about that one where he's like, "Oh, more space junk's falling out of the sky." Yeah. That's your story on space junk. It's still there and it ain't going nowhere. Well, it is. It's fully, but hopefully it doesn't hit anything on its way down. Hopefully, we're tracking it, but the more junk, the more people you got to hire to have tracking. I guess there's a jobs program for you.
Well, hopefully it just burns up in space, right? And then you don't have to worry about anything.
Right.
Oh.
Burns on re-entry.
Well, speaking of there's no segue from this space junk. There's no segue. We're talking more about politics because I'm all politics today, and we're talking about. I've put some makeup on, that's why I look different all of a sudden. We're talking about.
You can say, speaking of bad segues. There you go.
European Union leaders have agreed who is going to be the face of the European Union. This is by Samuel Peter Quinn, Lauren Cook, Ella Joyner on AP News. European Union leaders signed off on a trio of top appointments for their shared political institutions on Thursday, which was June 27th. We're installing German conservative Ursula von der Leyen as president of the European Commission for another 5 years. Wow, some people are really angry about that. There's people who really didn't like her, especially the radicals, the far right. They did not want her to be in charge because she actually agrees with not treating immigrants like the scum of the earth. At the side of von der Leyen, who heads the EU's executive branch, would be two new faces, Antonio Costa of Portugal as the European Council President and Estonia's Kaja Kallas as the top diplomat of the world's largest trading bloc. Mission accomplished, outgoing EU Council President Charles Michel told reporters after chairing a summit of the bloc's leaders, as von der Leyen and Kallas accompanied him at a joint news conference. Wait, that's a typo. As von der Leyen and Kallas accompanied at a joint news conference, Costa took part via video link. Von der Leyen has expressed her gratitude for a shot at a second term of office, saying, "I'm very honored and I'm delighted to share this moment." Kallas, who as the EU's top diplomat will lead the bloc's foreign and security policy with Russia's war on Ukraine in its third year, noted that there is a war in Europe, also growing instability, and also growing instability globally. My aim is definitely to work from the European unity. Both von der Leyen and Kallas should now be approved by the European lawmakers. Costa's nomination only needed the leader's approval, and he will start on his new role in the fall. After three centrist political families in the European Parliament struck a deal earlier this week, the top job package was well expected to be approved without any controversy at the summit in Brussels. But far-right politicians, emboldened by their strong showing in the EU Parliament elections earlier this month, slammed it as a stitch-up. Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni made it clear her displeasure at being excluded from preparatory talks with a small group of leaders who divided up the top jobs. Small group. Okay, let's just review this real quick. The ID has 59 seats as a parliamentary group. The centrist, conservatives, whatever you want to call them, they have like 137. Hello? This is what majority is. They have way more people. So yeah, you're not invited to the party, Maloney, just because you got some few extra seats. 19 extra seats they got, and they're acting like they got 50. Anyways, tired of these far-right extreme anti-immigrant extremists acting like they're important when they're not important. They have a minority majority, okay? A large amount of people. Sorry?
They're protecting their own belly buttons. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just like, you're not important. Stop acting like you're important. Meloni voted against Portugal's Costa and Estonia's Kalas, two sources close to the discussion told the Associated Press, on condition of anonymity. Meloni abstained on von der Leyen for European Commission President, the same sources confirmed. The officials requested anonymity in line with the EU practice. In a post on Twitter, Meloni said, "The way that the mainstream parties put forward the trio is wrong in method and substance. I decided not to support it out of the respect for the citizens and the indications that came from those citizens during the elections." National Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban was the only other major critic of the deal, famously a Russian puppet. Allegedly. European voters were cheated, he said on Facebook Thursday morning. Who's using Facebook to talk to people? I'm sorry. He said on...
We are, for one thing.
I know. I'm just saying, like, who is he talking to? He's just talking to a bunch of, like, boomers, I guess, on Facebook. 27th of June on Thursday evening. We do not support this shameful agreement. The objections were moot. The package only needed a 2/3 majority to pass. The June 6th to 9th election saw the EU's legislative shift to the right and dealt major blows to the mainstream governing parties in France and Germany. But the three mainstream groups managed to hold a narrow majority of seats. Costa, a former Portuguese prime minister, hails from the center-left Socialist Democrats group, which came second. Like, great. Kalas is prime minister of a tiny Baltic home. What is with this? Who wrote this article? A small group. A tiny Baltic home country. Okay. They're making it, the authors of this article make it sound like she shouldn't be heading anything because she's from a tiny Baltic country. She comes from the pro-business liberal group, which is also home to the embattled French President Emmanuel Macron, who lost seats in June poll, trailing in 4th place. EU top appointments are supposed to ensure geographic and ideological balance, but ultimately, it is the 27 leaders who call the shots, and generally, the most powerful among them. Yeah, think of every leader of a country in the EU as like a senator, right? That's how it works. So they have a bunch of other people under them that do anything, but as long as the 27 members of the EU agree on something, it's usually good to go. Of course, we have Viktor Orban, for example, and Melonia, who are constantly arguing against everything. I mean, Viktor Orban is basically going against the entire institution of the EU and what it stands for. So, puts a little wrench in the workings of the EU. While Costa's appointment is decided by EU leaders alone, both von der Leyen and Kalas will also need to be approved by a majority of lawmakers. With 720 members, the threshold used to be 361, the threshold is 361. The vote could happen when the newly constituted European Parliament meets for the first time in July. The European Council is the body composed of the leaders of the 27 member states. If confirmed, Costa's role as president would be to broker deals within an often hopelessly divided political club. In Portugal, he is known as a savvy negotiator, probably why he got the job. But von der Leyen's role is the most powerful. As Commission President, her job is to devise and implement the bloc's shared policy. She's like the king queen representative. And everything from migration to the economy and environmental rules, which is why a lot of people didn't want her to be in power because they're trying to force this anti-immigration, anti-global economy, just let's close our borders, let's close ourselves off, and pretend that we're some sort of racial purists. Von der Leyen is not up to those ideas whatsoever. With her far right pushing against the flagship EU policies ushered to the last 5 years, von der Leyen's critics charge she is poised to roll back ambition. Yeah, ambition for being xenophobic. I'm glad she's charging against it. But there's your update. there's your update on the EU. And I guess we'll see if they get actually voted in sometime in July which probably it will be fun, in the 720 members. Because I calculated before, after the elections, if you take all the left parties and the center parties and put them together, that's plenty to get past the threshold of 361. And I see no reason, and that's not even including the independent people who got voted in. I see no reason why they would fail at this vote. Your story.
Okay. Well, good luck to the EU.
Mm-hmm.
Old Viktor Orban with his crankiness and his overtures towards Putin constantly.
Yeah.
I want to be a fascist just like my hero, Vlad.
I also want to be a puppet state. Look at Belarus.
Yeah,
They're having a fun time. They're having
That's right.
absolute riot over there. Or I guess they're not having
one of
riots,
them.
so they'd probably get shot if they had a riot.
Yeah. Okay, well, in bad segue news, the the NFL, the National Football League, has lost a lawsuit, and this is from NPR.org, and they are citing the Associated Press. So this is from the Associated Press, and it's written by probably a person's name at the end. Nope, nothing at the end. So it's just Associated Press. Full reporter. A jury in U.S. District Court. Yeah, this is about the National Football League, the NFL. Not soccer, not American football. A jury in the U.S. District Court had ordered the NFL to pay nearly $4.8 billion in damages Thursday after ruling that the league violated antitrust laws in distributing out-of-market Sunday afternoon games on a premium subscription service. The jury awarded $4.7 billion in damages to the residential class and only $96 million to damages to the commercial class. Well, I guess the commercial class, those are charge you to watch the games, right? They make money on it. I don't think they're losing money, these bars. Now the common ordinary citizen is getting screwed, yeah. Well, since damages can be tripled under federal antitrust laws, the NFL could end up being liable for $14.39 billion.
Wow.
Which, let's see, the lawsuit covered 2.4 million residential subscribers and 48,000 businesses in the United States who paid for the package and out-of-market games from 2011 to 2022 seasons on DirecTV. The lawsuit claimed the league broke antitrust laws by selling its package of Sunday games at an inflated price. The subscribers say the league restricted competition by offering Sunday ticket only on. Yeah, this has been a while. This has been a brewing for a while because people in the city, right? You live in the city, you live in an apartment, you have no way of tacking a freaking satellite dish up to the outside of your building to see NFL games for, say, you're the Cincinnati Bengals fan. You live in New York City. Well, your sky is blocked by everything, you know? You ain't get no satellite signal. And if your cable provider was blocked from providing it by the NFL, which is a violation of antitrust laws, to me, let's see, 2.4 million people, $4 billion, that's $2,000 a person. That's actually pretty easy to math. So $2,000 a person, it can be tripled to $6,000 per person. So this is pretty, if the money goes directly to the actual subscribers.
Yeah.
The subscribers subscribe, we said that part. The NFL said it would appeal the verdict. The appeal will go to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals and then possibly the Supreme Court. Probably the Supreme Court. That's a big lot of money. And the NFL's got a lot of money to wait out this appeal. So, should the NFL end up paying damages, it could cost each of the 32 teams. Why do the teams have to pay it? The teams didn't come up with this deal. Anyway, it would cost each of the 32 teams approximately $449.6 million. We are disappointed with the jury's verdict for the NFL Sunday ticket class action lawsuit, the league said on a statement. We continue to believe that our media distribution strategy, which features all the NFL games broadcast on free over-the-air television in the markets of the participating teams and national distribution, are of our most popular games, supplemented by many additional choices, including Red Zone, Sunday Ticket, NFL Plus, is by far the most fan-friendly distribution model in all of sports and entertainment. Why do you need a distribution when you're on broadcast television for free all these years? I'm just saying. There's nothing wrong with the old system. Yeah, agreed. It's like we're gonna squeeze a nickel out of every penny. We certainly contest this decision. We believe that the class action claims the case are baseless and without merit. The trial lasted 3 weeks and featured testimony from NFL Commissioner Rog and Ally and Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones probably didn't do them any good.
I love how they're always like, "Oh, how do you defend yourself?" Well, it's just baseless, and of course, every person who's ever found guilty is always going to say, "This is wrong." I swear.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, they're rich, and the people who subscribe to these games are not rich. So you can always see the Robin Hood portion of this. Justice was done. The verdict upholds protection for the consumers in our class. It was a great day for consumers, plaintiff's attorney Bill Carmody said. During his closing remarks, Carmody showed on April 2017 NFL memo that showed the league was exploring a world without Sunday Ticket in 2017, where cable channels would air Sunday afternoon out-of-market games not shown on Fox or CBS. The jury of 5 men and 3 women deliberated. The jury of 5 men and 3 women, that's only 8 people in a jury, deliberated for nearly 5 hours before reaching this decision. Judge Philip S. Gutierrez is scheduled to hear post-trial motions on July 31st, including the NFL's request to have him rule in favor of the league because the judge determined the plaintiffs did not prove their case. Payment of damages in any changes to the Sunday Ticket package or the ways the NFL carries its Sunday afternoon games would be stayed until all appeals have been concluded. The league maintained it had the right to sell Sunday Ticket under its antitrust exemption for broadcasting. The plaintiff said that only covers over-the-air broadcasts and not pay TV. Other professional sports leagues are also keeping an eye on this case, since they also offer out-of-market packages. A major difference, though, is that MLB, the NBA, and NHL market their packages on multiple distributors and share their revenue per subscriber instead of receiving outright rights fees. DirecTV had Sunday Ticket from its inception in 1994 through 2022. The league signed a 7-year deal with Google's. The league signed a 7-year deal with Google's YouTube TV that began in the 2023 season. The lawsuit was originally filed in 2015 by Mucky Duck Sports Bar in San Francisco, but it was dismissed in 2017. 2 years later, the Ninth Circuit, which has jurisdiction over California and 8 other states, reinstated the case. Gutierrez ruled last year the case could proceed as a class action. So Mucky Duck Sports, a place that was probably charging admission for people to watch or probably extra drinks or whatever, to watch the games. Yep, so there's your antitrust suit. I'm going to be sitting here waiting for my check for $6,000 in the mail. I'm sure it'll be here any day. Back to you.
Yeah, because I know we had DirecTV at least since a long time.
Here's the thing now with class action suits. This is totally related. Class action lawsuits are not necessarily a good thing. When you get a thing in the mail or an email that says, "You are part of a class action suit," it might be the people who are paying the money sending you that mailer just so you can sign off in that class action suit because they got favorable terms. Because I just got one the other day. I got 4 emails in a row and it said, "Class action suit against the company that does my taxes, Tax Act." Yeah. Right? "Oh, we settled out of court. There's a settlement. You sign and you can sign this agreement, sign it. You have to sign it. You have a year to sign this agreement to get your money. You get your share of this class action suit." So I looked at the class action suit. I would get $18 if I signed it.
Not worth it.
And I would lose my right to further sue them. So what is it worth? Nothing.
It's not worth it.
It's them. Yeah, it's the people who settled want me to sign that settlement because they want it done and they don't want to be sued again. Anyway, back to you.
Yeah, always look something up before you press yes, no matter what it is. No matter if it's your job contract or you're getting money from someone.
I was all excited. They're charging dumb fees, and I'm going to get all them fees back. And I'm like, oh, the average settlement's going to be $18. I was like, really? Okay.
Never mind, guys. Never mind. It's not worth
Yeah.
it. Okay. Over the weekend, and I think also this weekend, we've got Glastonbury Festival happening in the UK. One of the most impressively and most famous music festivals in the UK. This is on Euronews Culture by Johnny Walfus, who was at the scene to experience the highs and lows. Whether you're on your way there or not, here's the essential guide from Euronews Culture. And so it begins. Over the next 2 days, over 200,000 people will descend on Worthy Farm in Somerset for the Glastonbury Festival. A month ago, weather reports were suggesting this year would be the first in recent memory to present a classic washout event. A typical southwest English summertime with rain showers and footfall churning the dairy farms fields into rivers of squelching mud. Yeah, it's not a festival in the UK if you're not slipping on your ass and covered in mud. At the time, the UK was dealing with one of its wettest years on record. Then, suddenly, a week before it began, the weather changed. Worthy Farm is in an area of England defined by its ancient grounds littered with ley lines and pagan history. Perhaps some of the pre-Roman magic was at play today. As the festival gates opened, the sun bore down on Glastonbury. There are a few reasons why this year's edition of the UK's biggest and most significant music and cultural festival is special. The first is rooted in changes to the festival areas. Primarily, the iconic Arcadia dance stage has been retired. Its arachnid theme still girder set up. And in its place, the Dragonfly, an impressive installation of the titular insect created out of the shell of the Royal Navy helicopter. The Woodsy stage, formerly known as John Peel stage, has also expanded, adding the Tree stage to its main stage area. Glastonbury diehards know that this is the place to be for all the best left field artists from that the Pyramid, Other and West Holt stages won't accommodate for. While the music doesn't get properly started before Friday, punters, or I guess before today, because I think this article is from Wednesday, Friday, 28th of June, puntins filter into the festival site from Wednesday, so this was what was from Wednesday, which was the June 26th. They've been filing in and now they're ready to go. For an outsider of the Glastonbury Festival experience, that might seem like arriving at a bit unfashionably early. Having spent almost an entire day lugging a heavy tent through London, then to suffer through an unbearably hot bus ride to the site itself, Walfits can already report that the festival spirit has won through. Glastonbury boasts more than 100 stages and smaller acts are already keeping crowds entertained, while others head over to gain spiritual and physical guidance at the healing fields, between grabbing a bite to eat at the endlessly exciting food stalls littered around the area. This isn't just a music festival, it's an entire city-state. As Glastonbury becomes the 7th biggest city in south of England in the next 5 days, Euronews Culture will be on the scene to report on what makes the ultimate festival in Europe. So who's playing? After co-organized Emily Avis faced criticisms last year for festival's all-male headliners Guns N' Roses, Arctic Monkeys, and Elton John, she was adamant that 2024's edition would be different. Avis has thoroughly delivered by putting pop music's hottest property, Dua Lipa, with a top slot at the Pyramid stage on Friday night. Expect her to get the entirety of the Worthy Farm grooving to her solid back catalog and hit-laden new album, Radical Optimism. Headlining on Saturday will be Coldplay. The UK indie rockers will make history as this is the 5th time in the top spot, a feat no other act has achieved in the past. Chris Martin and his band will likely bring out a few tracks from their upcoming album Moon Music, but hopefully they won't linger too heavily on their more recent music and elect to create the Glastonbury moment with a sunset rendition of the classics like Fix You and The Scientist. While Dua Lipa will kick off proceedings, closing out the festival on the site's iconic Pyramid stage will be US R&B singer-songwriter SZA. It is her first time at the festival, but between her work as the award-winning songwriter for other artists and her own hefty discography that has been a blitzing world tour, her position in the somewhat traditional up-and-coming headline slot shouldn't fool anyone. This will be a big one. Beyond headliners, there's a raft of legendary female acts to keep people entertained. In the titular Legends slot on Sunday is Shania Twain. I feel like a woman. Da, da. Everyone knows that one. Then for all the angsty naughties kids, Avril Lavigne will bring a set that will remind everyone why Skater Boy rocked their worlds. Finally, UK's girl group Sugar Babes. In their original lineup, there was a period where they exchanged members more often than the Conservative Party exchanged leaders. We were talking about that yesterday. There's been so many prime ministers in the last few years, making their set unmissable. Think there's more than enough? 80s Lengy Cyndi Lauper will remind us that girls just want to have fun. Well, they really felt bad about having the all-male headliners last year, because now they have Girls Just Want to Have Fun singer Cyndi Lauper, and I Feel Like a Woman, Shania Twain singer as well. That can't be a coincidence. Kate Nash also takes us back to the cracks in the foundation. Well, Kate Nash has gotten a real upheaval in popularity ever since her song was in Stranger Things. I think that's Kate Nash. Am I thinking of somebody else?
Yeah,
Kate Nash also has a huge huge song going. Huh?
Yeah. What?
Oh, you're disconnecting, so I can't hear you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why?
Now you're fine.
You said Kate Bush, right?
No, Kate Nash. Sorry, I got them confused.
I don't know Kate Nash. Yeah, I don't know Kate Nash.
No, she's just a British artist. She's just a British artist. Yeah. She's a well-known British artist. Kate Bush and Kate Nash have very similar names, literally. There's like 2 different letters. Other highlights will be LSD Sound System, Little Sims, Olivia Dean. Little Sims, of course, did a really guest verse on one of RM's from BTS's songs. Janelle Monáe, great artist, and Jessie Ware, which will all provide ample chances to dance in the sunshine. For those fancying something on the rockier side, there are going to be sets by premier punk bands of the day from the UK, Idols, in Ireland, Fontaines DC, while early in the day, sets from the new punk anarchist Lambrini Girls and Mannequin Pussy will shake some hangovers loose. The beauty of Glastonbury is the sheer breadth of the acts on show. It would be impossible to list them in entirety here, but if you've been reading and still haven't found anything to latch onto yet, you'll be glad to hear also coming along are rockers The National, Bombay Bicycle Club, The Last Dinner Party, Electronic Acts Disclosure, I love Disclosure, Justice, Jamie XX, hip-hop artist Danny Brown, Thames, and Burna Boy. Finally, Johnny Walfitz is excited about looking forward to titled Party Girl set by Charlie XCX. Charlie has some great sets presented on Friday after the critically acclaimed release of her rave-inspired album Brat this month. The set promises a close-up look at Charlie's glitchy club music era. So there is your review as of Wednesday, so it's probably even upgraded more, of Glastonbury Festival and all the things you can start seeing today. And I guess get on a plane or get on a boat or whatever, a train, head over, see if you can get a tent in a good spot. And I guess this day in history. You're muted.
This day in history, plus who doesn't love a good festival in the summertime? Chance to meet a bunch of strangers and commute with them.
Yeah, and get put in the drunk.
Commune with them. Go camping for 3 days in some horrible place and turns to mud when it rains.
Just bring old clothes. Don't bring new stuff.
Right. Don't bring things you can afford to lose. Or you can't afford to lose. Okay, this day in history. Charles V in 1519. Charles V, who is Charles I, who as Charles I was already King of Spain, was elected Holy Roman Emperor, and his struggles to hold the empire together led to his abdication in 1556. So he got 37 years to do his thing. That's a long time.
That's more than most
professional. It's more than most professional careers. Those aren't Queen Victoria numbers, but it's up there. 1712, French philosopher, writer, and political theorist Jean-Jacques Rousseau, whose treatises and novels inspired leaders of the French Revolution and the Romantic generation, was born in Geneva. Hey, we've been there, Geneva.
Thanks,
Rousseau.
A
French. Yeah.
Telling us, Rousseau is one of the philosophers that told people, hey, wait a minute, you guys are the majority. You should tell people the government what to do. It shouldn't be the other way around.
Power to the people. Power
Yeah.
to the people.
Hell yeah.
1778, according to legend, a woman who's named Mary Hayes earned the nickname Molly Pitcher by carrying water to her husband's regiment during the Battle of Monmouth. I thought she was also manning the
I think that's one of those, you know, when you're a kid in elementary school and they're like, pick a famous person and dress up as them? Molly Pitcher was a popular one for kids. Because you just need, like, a pitcher. You just dress up
a pitcher
ever.
of water.
Yeah.
End up at a... did you have to make a mock cannon of some sort? 1838. Speaking of Queen Victoria, 1838, the Victorian Age began in 1838 because Queen Victoria was crowned the Queen of the United Kingdom and Great Britain and Ireland, and grew the biggest empire in the history of the world. 1867, Italian playwright, novelist, and short story writer Luigi Pirandello, recipient of the 1934 Nobel Prize for Literature, was born. Let's just say he was born and fill in the blanks later. In 1880, Ned Kelly, Australia's most infamous bushranger, was arrested following a shootout with police. Later that year, he was hanged. Ned Kelly, not a good guy. 1889, Maria Mitchell, the first professional female astronomer in the United States, died at the age of 70. Professional astronomer, how much that pays? 1894, the U.S. Congress declared the first Monday of September to be Labor Day, a holiday to honor the American worker. Here's your lip service, guys. As we pay lip service to the American worker, there's no money involved in it, but we give you a day off. We're not paying you for that day off. Just let you know, you don't have to come to work. 1902, the notorious bank robber John Dillinger was born in Indianapolis, Indiana, just in case you were wondering when and where he was born. 1919,
the notorious BR, the notorious bank robber instead of BIG, the notorious BR.
Well, JD, John Dillinger.
Oh, yeah.
JD. Okay. You got him a rap name? I'm John Dillinger, I rob banks. And anyway, I can't. Lots of things rhyme with banks, but I'm not a rapper, and I don't even play one on the radio. 1919, with the Treaty of Versailles was signed at the Palace of Versailles in France, signaling the end of World War I. Not official till somebody signs a paper. In 1969, on this day, was the Stonewall riot.
Hell yeah.
Yep. The series of violent confrontations between police and gay rights activists began outside the Stonewall Inn, a gay bar in New York. The riots helped launch an international gay rights movement.
And who was the person who threw the first stone?
Cops?
A trans woman. Everyone remember that. People always say trans people don't belong in LGBT. They have nothing to do with sexual orientation. It's like, well, they're the ones who fucking threw the first stone, so...
I mean, all of these clubs were... But all of these clubs were drag clubs. That's nothing really radical about that, I don't think.
Yeah.
And the cops are like, oh no, they're in public doing it. And I'm like, yeah, so what? Anyway.
Welcome to New York. Fuck off.
It was New York in the 60s. New York in the 70s got much worse. Because you had Son of Sam and basically... You've been to Times Square. Times Square in the 70s was basically dirty book shows and peep shows. Anyway, 1981, the Canadian activist Terry Fox, who, after losing part of one of his legs to cancer, attempted to run across the country to raise money for cancer research, but he died at the age of 22. So, sad day of him dying on this day in 1981, when I had just barely graduated from high school.
Wow.
In 1981.
Time flies.
So he was 22. He would be 4 years older than me, basically. In 1997, Mike Tyson got really hungry in the middle of a boxing match and bit one of Evander Holyfield's ears. As a result of the infraction, he temporarily lost his boxing license.
I don't think he got hungry. What the... You know what? You go for a snack right now.
He bit his ears once in a break, and then they went back and bit him again. because he was losing, he was getting his ass kicked. Mike Tyson's like, I'm not getting my ass kicked. I'm going to get disqualified. So he did. He saved himself. Yeah, well, Mike Tyson actually resourcefully see himself from major brain injury. Think of it that way, because he was getting pummeled. He was a punching bag for Evander Holyfield in their second match. And Holyfield beat him once. For all those people that think Mike Tyson was this unbeatable force, Holyfield beat him twice. Okay, Holyfield was a better boxer by far. Tyson was a puncher. He stood on his he didn't move his feet, and he stood there and punched you. He did not move. He just did not get out of the way of anything. So he was just going to get landed, and he'd be even harder to understand than he is now. 2007, the bald eagle was removed from the U.S. list of endangered and threatened species. So happy anniversary to the bald eagle. They don't care. Just give me a fish. And 2009, on this day, on the same day as a national referendum that, if passed, would have allowed him to run for re-election, Honduran President Manuel Zelaya was ousted. Stable country ever since. That was sarcasm. Our featured event, this day, 1914. On this day, incidentally, as the Treaty of Versailles was signed in 1919, it was also the day that the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. On this day in 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian, and his Sophie were assassinated by Gavrilo Princip in Sarajevo, Bosnia, precipitating the outbreak of World War I. So World War I started on June 28th, ended on June 28th.
And somehow Germany was Germany's fault somehow.
Austro-Hungary alliance. That's what they were a part of. It was a very complicated war where not a damn thing was settled. But yeah, unfortunately, we had to go to war again like 20 years later because,
because they made Germany pay for it, and the German mark was literally papered like toilet paper. And then, of course, Hitler used that as a reason to get everyone angry. Right. And hey, vote for me, I'll change everything. And he sure did. He did definitely change stuff.
Yeah, he certainly did. But just a little bit more understanding back in World War I would have gone a long ways, right?
Yeah.
Instead of just going, there's only one way out of this. And again, World War I shattered Europe's peace, and a peace that had lasted like over 100 years. Almost 100 years. Almost complete, total peace.
Napoleon.
Yeah, right. So, and there was a few wars in here and there, but it was never like some major conflict. Everybody had to go, okay, let's go to the peace table and negotiate this again. You know,
and that's what the Ukrainian war is becoming now. It's becoming a long, drawn-out conflict that may or may not cause people to join in at some point.
Right. Well, Russia can't hold this, and they've proven it. That they need some outside interference because they couldn't hold Afghanistan, so they're not going to hold Ukraine either. Peter Paul Rubens, no, not P.B. Herman, because that was his name. Peter Paul Rubens, Flemish artist, was born on this day on June 28, 1576. 1640, Antwerp. Other birth. Happy birthday to Mel Brooks. Kathy Bates, I'm your biggest fan, and I'm going to break your legs. American actress, born in 1948. Got really famous for her role in Misery. 1960 is the birthday of John Elway, and happy birthday to Elon Musk, American entrepreneur, born in 1971. He turns a bright, spanking young 53 today. And what day is it today? It is, there's no food today, strangely enough. We have National Logistics Day, which is, keeping track of how things get to where. Oh, yeah. Logistics is a very, very important thing, and it causes supply chain interruptions if you're not doing it right.
You know how National you can get those Alaska fresh produce? You got to thank those guys for it, because otherwise you'd have to be going down to the farmer's market to get fresh produce.
Oh yeah, and there's all kinds of logistics involved with everything. Satellite launching, military invasions. Oh boy, that's a big logistical problem. You got to feed people, folks. You can't just invade places. You got to feed people. Anyway, there is also it's National Paul Bunyan Day. If you don't know what Paul Bunyan is, he's a legendary, they didn't actually exist, giant lumberjack. And his big blue ox Babe, who supposedly made all the lakes in Wisconsin and Minnesota. It's National Insurance Awareness Day, and I'm always aware I have insurance every time I get the bill. And again, insurance is famous for you give them money and they give you nothing. That's what it's famous for. But you gotta buy it. Don't tell me why. I have no idea. It's never done me any good.
For your health, for your everything.
And to this day, owning insurance has done me no good whatsoever, except keep me from paying a ticket for not having insurance. That's about it. So, yeah. Still waiting for all this insurance I paid all the years, even my health insurance, complete waste of money. I still can't get any care I need. Health insurance, you make one claim in 20 years, they cancel you. And then they jack up your rates and give you another, here's another policy. It's twice as much and it doesn't cover as much, but here it is. It's all canceled. And car insurance is even worse. They just jack you up for arbitrary reasons. They don't even have to tell you. Anyway, National Insurance Awareness Day. Screw insurance companies. They suck. They're horrible. But they have the best commercials on TV. I'll give them that.
At least they're putting that money that they scam off of their
yeah.
They scam off of people to something. They make great commercials.
Go to any major city in the United States and go look for the tallest, biggest building in the city, and it's going to be an insurance building built by an insurance company because they got shitloads of money because they rigged the game in advance for themselves. So there you are. And that's it. That's your news and your bitter sarcasm for June 28th, 2024 on Before Alaska. Before logistics. Nothing works on this side.
Before logistics, where you just stayed in your village and didn't do anything.
It's National Alaska Day. Before Alaska. How about Baked Alaska? How about that? How about Before Baked Alaska?
Yeah, we'll just add that one in there.
All right.
Okay, well, this has been Allison here from the Netherlands. I hope you've enjoyed our Friday news dump, which has been extra dumpy today. And we've dumped all of it. I need to stop saying that. It sounds worse and worse the more you say it. Please subscribe to the Ally and Rog channel on YouTube so we can get more subscribers. And you can be notified when we go live / post a video. And we will see you on Mucking Fun Day to review whatever is going on over the weekend. Take care out there. Here is our mic drop moment.
We're at 240, right?
Sure had the big chief worried, didn't I, folks? They get that way when they're big, huh? And the winner is Mel Brooks for the producer.
Frank Sinatra and Don Rickles. Look at old young Mel Brooks.
Yeah, I didn't even know he looked like that before.
He was always short, though. That didn't change. But Frank Sinatra presenting him, that's pretty big.
The tanks will be in Friday.
The tanks. Thank you very much. I didn't trust myself in case I went, so I wrote a couple of things here. I want to thank the Academy of Arts, Sciences, and Money for this wonderful award. Well, I'll just say what's in my heart. Ba-bump, 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 ba-bump. Seriously, I'd like to thank Sidney Glazer, the producer of The Producers, for producing The Producers. Joseph E. Levine and his wife Rosalie for distributing the film. I'd also like to thank Zero Mostel.
Easy crowd.
I'd also
Easy
like to
crowd.
thank Gene Wilder. I'd also like to thank Gene Wilder. I'd also like to thank Gene Wilder. Thank you very much.
What is it called? The Rule of Threes, huh? You did it 3 times and you said it 3 times.
Mel Gibson, Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder's actually crying.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.